Good morning. This is the next video for the play from the break window. This one is very grappling specific, but it's still a very cool play and it kind of opens up your mind maybe to some interesting ideas. So let's take a look at the play and then how I practice it. Meyer says, also you can grip over against him thus. If an opponent cuts from above, then cut against him from your left from below with the long edge, and when he pulls his sword back away from yours and is going up with his arms, then grip over your quillions onto the blade with your fingers and send your blade over both his arms as shown by the two lower figures in the following image, M. Wrench thus to your right side. If you wish, you may then cast him thus, step with your right foot behind his right and catch him by his neck with your short edge, and at the same time shove your pommel away from you over your right arm towards your right, cast him thus on his back towards your left over your right leg. So it's a pretty basic trip throw. Some key things to remember is that although we are being given a crossed arm variant, the break window, the core things are still important, which is that we are under our opponent's sword. This is very important. If we stay out and low and the point is in our face, we are not safe. So just like in the previous videos where we've been talking about this break window position, which is a high guard variant where we're under the opponent's sword, we're just getting there with the crossed arm variant. So you definitely can do, as Meyer says, this crossed armed rising cut, and then we drive up underneath. Very important to be underneath. You could also just do it with an offside attack and then drive. And often in sparring, if I come in with a heavy offside attack, sometimes we still will drive up and now I'll be underneath. So remember, when you're doing this, still the break window, it's just a crossed arm variant. The over gripping itself is very interesting. So once we've gotten under our opponent's sword with this crossed arm variant, what Meyer is telling us to do is to release our right hand, dump this over and grab. This is the over gripping he's talking about. So from this crossed arm variant, we're turning the sword kind of across our right palm and then gripping over again. This is how we get this reverse grip where we're going to be on top of the opponent's sword and arms to get control. You could do this completely on the grip, but Meyer shows the reverse on the blade. That does give pretty good leverage. The picture does show the index finger over the quillion. That is how I tend to do it. So I brought my stick on a pel just to kind of hopefully show this a little bit better if it's a confusing motion. So we've come underneath in some fashion. I release my right hand to over grip and dump to the side, and now I have some pretty good control over my opponent's weapon. The throw that Meyer gives us is a pretty basic step past the right leg. I'm going to bring this same back edge hook onto their neck and then drive them down. So we've come underneath, we over grip, step and drive. There's another variant that I like that I tend to do a little bit more in sparring, which is once I've gotten underneath, I do the same over grip, and because I'm left foot forward, I will slide in a little bit to get my left leg behind their right, and then I will actually use more pommel strike motion to throw them across that way. Either one is fine. The key points of this play are the getting underneath, making sure that we're safe, because again, point in the face, no good. Getting that over gripping position, and then whatever throw you like to do. If you are in SEA heavy combat, this play is almost not applicable to you at all. If you are in a HEMA context, just make sure that you are being mindful of your opponent's safety and that you are following whatever club or tournament rules you're in. Either throw, especially because we're hooking the neck, has a lot of potential to force the opponent's head to hit the ground. So if you are not training on mats or your opponent is not trained on how to fall, just move to the unbalancing point and then stop. Don't actually throw them so that the back of their head hits the ground. But I think this is a nice play to really practice a little lead hand dexterity and practicing some control. Meyer shows these reverses and wrenches without the over gripping. You see these in some of the earlier plays, and it's just a good reminder that you can get some really good control over this. And then it is really just kind of cool seeing this over gripping position. So play with that. Next week is the last play from this position. It's a little bit more grappling goodness. He gives us a few other options from there. So let me know if you have any questions, and I will see everybody next week for the last play in the break window.